You're probably wondering why I'm sitting like this, and it's because this disguises the fact that I have a very large double chin. If you look at it like this, it looks like I'm relatively thin because I've kind of remade my neckline. And so I plan on doing my reading like this, but it's really uncomfortable and it's giving me a crick in my neck, so fuck it. You're just going to have to look at my fat double chin. So, this is the very first meeting of the Let's Pretend This Never Happened book club, and I am going to do just as like a little some pre-work, just in case you don't have the book and you want to join in for the first session. I'm going to go ahead and read the introduction and chapter 1, and that way you can just watch this and it's like you've read the first 2 chapters of the book, sort of. Well, chapter and a half, whatever. So this is what the book looks like, except in mirror reverse. And what's really cool about the book, rather than the Kindle, is that if you look on the inside, it has the best, like, I don't know if you can see, it has the best end papers. Like, there's little raccoons and little, they're so cute. Anyway, so we're going to get started. First with the dedication. This book is a love letter to my family. It's about the surprising discovery that the most terribly human moments, the ones we want to pretend never happened, are the same moments that make us who we are today. I've reserved the very best stories of my life for this book, to celebrate the strange and to give thanks for the bizarre, because you are defined not by life's imperfect moments, but by your reaction to them, and because there is joy in embracing rather than running screaming from the utter absurdity of life. I thank my family for teaching me that lesson, in spades. So let's skip to the introduction. And if you hear weird noises coming from the background, it's my cat Posey, who's like near death, but he's been near death for like 18 years. So he's fine, but he's kind of sneezing and he's allergic to himself. Introduction. This book is totally true except for the parts that aren't. It's basically like Little House on the Prairie, but with more cursing. And I know you're thinking, but Little House on the Prairie was totally true, and I'm sorry, it wasn't. Laura Ingalls was a compulsive liar with no fact checker, and probably if she was alive today, her mom would be saying, I don't know how Laura came up with this whole I'm a small girl on the prairie story. We lived in New Jersey with her Aunt Frida and our dog Mary, who was blinded when Laura tried to bleach a lightning bolt on her forehead. I have no idea where she got the and we lived in a dugout thing, although we did take her to Carlsbad Caverns once. And that's why I'm better than Laura Ingalls, because my story is 90% accurate, and I actually did live in a dugout. There's a little footnote that says I never actually lived in a dugout, but I did totally go to Carlsbad Caverns once. The reason this memoir is only mostly true instead of totally true is because I relish not getting sued. Also, I want my family to be able to say, oh, that never happened. Of course, we never actually tossed her out of a moving car when she was 8. That's one of those crazy things that's just not quite the truth. And they're right, because the truth is I was 9. I was sitting on my mom's lap when my dad made a hard left. The door popped open and I was tossed out like a sack full of kittens. My mom managed to grab my arm, which would have been helpful if my father had actually stopped the car, but apparently he didn't notice or possibly thought I would just catch up, and so my legs were dragged through a parking lot I'm pretty sure was paved with broken glass and used syringes. I learned 3 lessons from this experience. 1, that vehicle safety in the late 70s was not exceptional for children. 2, that you should always leave before the officials arrive, as the orangish sting of medicinal acid applied by a sadistic ambulance driver will hurt far worse than any injury you can sustain being dragged behind a car. And 3, that don't make me come back there is an empty threat unless your father has been driving for 4 hours with 2 screaming kids, and he suddenly gets very quiet, in which case you should lock your door or at least remember to tuck and roll. I'm not saying that he intentionally threw me out of a moving car. I'm just saying that an opportunity presented itself and that my father is a dangerous man who shouldn't be trusted. Did you notice how like half of this introduction was just a rambling parenthetical? That shit is going to happen all the time. I apologize in advance for that, and also for offending you. Because you're going to get halfway through this book and giggle at non sequiturs about Hitler and abortions and poverty, and you'll feel superior to all the uptight, easily offended people who need to learn how to take a fucking joke. But then somewhere in here, you will read one random thing that you're sensitive about, and everyone else will think it's hysterical, but you will think, oh, that is way over the line. I apologize for that one thing. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. Also, there's another footnote here. When I read these stories to friends, I'm always shocked when they stop to ask me, wait, is that true? During the most accurate of all the stories. The things that have been changed are mainly names and dates, but the stories that you think couldn't possibly have happened, those are the real ones. As in real life, the most horrible stories are the ones that are the truest, and as in real life, the reverse is true as well.